Casey Andersen, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Man, I am great.
Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you for coming in. You're running for City Council of Middleton, yeah?
Correct. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Is the mayor on an off-year election?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so every 2
she's been
years.
in for 2 years, and so
Gotcha.
so she'll be up for re-election in 2 years.
How many council members do you have? Is it 4?
So
or
4.
5? Okay.
So there's 4 total. 2 positions are open this
Gotcha.
cycle. One of the incumbents is rerunning in Dave Murray, and then Kaiser's not running, and so there's
There
an
you
open
go.
spot. So
There you go.
yeah.
Listen, man, why do you want to run for City Council?
Why do I want? So that's a great question. So we've lived in Middleton for 12 years and have absolutely loved it. I've worked from home for that entire time, back before it was cool. And it's it's Middleton has just been absolutely phenomenal to me and my family. And so I've had the opportunity while we've been living there to do coach my kids' football, basketball teams, and there's just something special about Middleton, and I want to do everything I can to kind of help see that continue in that direction. So I want to say schools are awesome. I've got my 2 oldest have graduated. I've got one. Yeah. And so it wasn't a small feat for either one of them. So it was a work. It was a process.
It's supposed to be, man. Like if you get to the end, you're like, I took everything I had.
It took a lot. So, and then I've got, my daughter's in high school. She's a freshman. And then my youngest is in 4th grade, and we have loved all their teachers. The principal, my 4th grader will see his principal or his teacher at football games and go up and give him hugs. I mean, it's just been like total community. And so, yeah, it's just phenomenal.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I want to move to Middleton.
Dude,
you just
should.
sold really well. So understand everything about that. There are a lot of ways to be engaged in community, though, right? And like, it sounds like you're engaged in many, but like, why City Council? Like, are there things going on that you're worried about, or is everything hunky-dory? You just want to keep it going in that right direction? Like, what is it?
So obviously it's been booming. Growth has been, pretty rampant out there.
Yeah.
I don't know about rampant, but it's been
Unchecked.
It's been going. And unfortunately, a lot of that's just been from everything that's been approved, years ago.
Right.
And so when we moved into our house 12 years ago, there's a little slough behind us, and then there was a pasture behind us, and we were told at that time, hey, that's already been approved. There's going to be houses going in there, just so you know. And it's like, okay, well, eventually we'll see backyard neighbors. Right. They are just now getting to that subdivision behind our house. I mean, it's been 12 years, and it's just finally happening. And so, yeah, it's just, so yes, the growth has been pretty high end. So, and then I think the bypass is kind of a hot topic right now as well.
Could we chat about growth? Right.
Sure.
And we'll get to the bypass.
Go for it.
So you acknowledged one of the bigger problems that I keep hearing from people, which is, hey, look, man, we can all say don't love growth, because I don't know anybody who's like, I love growth, unless you're a home builder, and even
right.
or you're people that I had a home builder in here recently. I had a great conversation with him, and he brought up, he's like, listen, I was here in 2008 to 2012, and let me tell you, when you realize the economic driver that is building, it is wild. And it's not just selling one home. It's some astronomical number of man hours and sales tax. And he was like, gas alone. You see trucks pulling up with lumber and tools, like the gas to get those guys to where it's this mass drive. So there are obviously positive and negatives, but for the people that are frustrated with growth, as you're acknowledging, a lot of these things were approved and okayed years ago. So like, what is it that the city council could or should be doing that it's not doing, or is it doing exactly what it can do and just moving on?
Well, I mean, obviously you can't change the past.
Sure.
Anything that's been approved up to this point is, you can't change that. So moving forward, I'd love to see what we could do to. There's some awesome stuff coming out of the legislature with the ag protection area. And so it's a voluntary program for ranchers, farmers that, 5 acres or more. So I would love to see if we can maybe, swing that around and kind of help some of the local farmers try to stay in business as long as possible.
That came out 2 years ago, right?
I believe it was the end of 24.
Okay.
So about a year.
Yeah. I had Braden Jensen from the Farm Bureau on to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So obviously with anything that's new, you always got to kind of worry about, unintended consequences.
Yes.
So I'd love to, research that more and make sure that would be a good fit. But, on the surface, that sounds like something that would be freaking awesome out there.
Yeah. So you have interesting about those land trusts is you have the American Land Trust, and then you have an Idaho Coalition of Land Trusts as well. And in the classic land trust model, you essentially take, if you have a bundle of twigs, and each of these twigs represents a right for that property. It could be mining, could be development, could be farming, could be whatever. And you're like, hey, look, I'm taking the development twig.
Right.
I'm taking that away. Okay. And I'm going to put it over here. And this is the land trust. The trust is going to hold that twig and make sure. And in exchange, you get a certain amount of financial compensation. You don't get made a whole 100%. You can take a certain amount of write-off, but you do get, it's like, okay, if my property's worth $2 million to a developer, maybe I'll get $1 million in cash that I can use to buy equipment and stuff, but I can never sell it. I can never sell it for that $2 million. Or maybe I get, $200,000 in cash, whatever it is. But that's not what came out with the legislature, right? So the legislature presented a temporary one that you can engage voluntarily into a 20-year building, take the twig away. Now, you could still sell it for, emergency medical things or things of that nature. You do get some benefits from like zoning ordinances and whatnot shifting. You get some protection from county zoning things, but you don't get any cash, right? So it has to be something where I have a property, let's say worth $2 million to developers, let's say only worth $500,000 as farmland, as ag land. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 500,000. I'm not about that 2 million life.
Unless they want to keep going. So,
sure.
A big issue right now in ag is, your farmers are getting older, and a lot of young people are not coming in there. So if there's a farmer that does have somebody that under their wing that they want to have take over, having that option of, hey, I want to protect this for this generation, for the next generations, for, to have that option, I think could be really key for a lot of those farmers out there. If they want. If they want to sell out and then move to a rural area and continue farming, move to the beach. 2 million cash out, move to the beach. Here I come, Costa Rica. I don't know a lot of farmers that would look good in a swimsuit, so the white legs just might find everybody on the beach there.
Funny with the zinc on the nose.
Oh my gosh.
Zinc on the nose and the farmer tan.
Yep.
Yeah, you earned that.
Oh yeah.
They named that tan after you, buddy.
They named it really appropriately. So.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's the thing. But again, growth is really hard.
Growth is hard.
Enticing agricultural based people to either permanently restrict or temporarily restrict their capacity. That's a tricky business.
And but it would give them that protection too. So obviously Idaho's already a farmer friendly, so the nuisance litigation they're very protected from that. But this would kind of give them an extra layer.
Gotcha.
So that would be again
something to think about.
I would love to explore that more and make sure that would be a good fit. But that's it.
Bypass.
Okay, so bypass in Middleton. It has been. Technically, it's been on the books as a possible option since like 99 or something like that. And so previous administrations, they've always kind of toyed with it. It's gotten to the point now where I believe in 21, so it's a collaborative project, Middleton with the Highway District.
Yes.
And so it's not all one or the other. It's got to be a collaborative effort. And so Middleton has back in 21, they completely took it off the table as in their comprehensive plan. So when they did that, they were hoping it was going to lure in more businesses, and I think there was a couple that came in after that. But what that has then turned into is Main Street has the middle school on Main Street, and then the traffic that has ensued, and that has just It's just not. If you want to get out of Middleton, do not take Main Street between certain hours. It's just been nuts. So they've so Jackie, Mayor Jackie, ran on that 2 years ago that she wanted to get that back on the dock. I think there was 4 plans at one point. I think they're down to 3. The highway district has given their recommendations for which ones they would recommend, like to see. One of them's got Main Street getting blown out and widened. One of them's got the, curvature around it. And so,
dude, if you blow out Main Street and widen that,
I know,
like, what do the businesses think of that?
So there's like over 59 structures / businesses that would be affected by that.
Listen, I don't know anything about anything, but that sounds crazy.
That is not the one that the highway district is recommending.
Sure. So and you're just saying this is an option.
That's one of the options that's been on the table. And so the one that they are recommending, there's 2 options. One of them kind of cuts off right after it gets off the interstate and kind of curves around. I would describe it as similar to what Eagle does. When 44 goes around Eagle, it avoids the downtown area. You still got your downtown area that you can kind of go shop, destination area, but you don't have the through traffic that's trying to.
Right. I'm sorry to interrupt. I interviewed Nancy Merrill, former mayor and city councilwoman for Eagle.
Okay.
But we're talking like 20 years ago.
Okay.
And she, like, Merrill Park is named after her farm.
Oh, sweet.
Right. Yeah. So like this real iconic Eagle character and figurehead. And she was telling me in her interview about when the bypass got built, because they had everybody going down through like Old State, hence like Old State Street, like this used to be. And it got too crazy. And then when the bypass was built, people were like, oh, you're going to have like a downtown now. Like this is like where people can park and walk, and traffic gets averted. You can intentionally go there. You can get out of Eagle easily. Yeah, so it's a big thing if you can pull it off effectively.
Yep. So I mean, that's the hope. I know that there's a lot of negative still to the massive bypass. The couple of the benefits from it would be the flow would give it the best flow. If you're trying to get around Middleton, that gives you your best flow. Right. When it comes to the state, widening Main Street, I would compare that similar to probably what Star's done. And so there's, sometimes there's just not any great options. Right. You just kind of got to, unfortunately, what I feel like what has happened with it is the can's been kicked down the road for so long that it's just, whatever decision is made, it's going to hurt. It's like that broken bone. Yeah. It's like property that broken values. Bone. We got to fix this broken arm. The longer you wait, the heart, the worse it's going to feel. So yeah, that's, but I'd love to, I make sure that we get something done. I've talked to a couple of, business owners, and honestly, they're just like, we need something at this point. That's just the traffic it used to just be bad when the middle school was getting in and out, and at this point, it's getting to where
it's bad all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to go on a geothermal tour of I believe it's Nichols Spring, but it's in Oregon, just Eastern Oregon, and again had to drive through Middleton to get there. I was meeting these guys out, and we were going to carpool, but the point is, like, I was going at a random time, not when schools are getting in and out, and there was still traffic. I'm like, there are a lot of cars here, man. Yeah. Like this is, and again, the businesses are trying to do business. People are trying to walk. You're trying to engage in commerce, starting, stopping. And dude, if you miss when the street turns into the right turn only, it is over. Like, I understand for a local, it's like you learn in the first week, but somebody who like doesn't go through Middleton all the time, I'm like, oh, it got me again. You got like, oh, and then you're like trying to wave at the person. You're like, can I do it? And they're like, nope, you can't. And you're like, all right, I'll go into the store. And then the store parking lots, everybody's turning around. I'm not a good person.
How many times? So my daughter does dance, and there's a Main Street studio. Traffic's not fun there, but as we come and pick her up and drop her off, I would say probably 50% of the time when we're trying to go straight, somebody's in the wrong lane and they're trying to merge, and it's just like,
there's got to be something. You got to get like a sign or something, a paint.
It's painted and there's signage.
Get the flashing sign. Just like, I don't, oh God,
Yeah.
I try to not, I've like, I did it a few times and now I'm like, now I know,
Now you
I'm
know.
like, I don't know where it is, but I know it's coming.
You know
like
it's
my
coming.
eyes peeled, like, follow the flow of
Yeah,
traffic.
just follow the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So the bypass is a big thing.
Yeah, it's
There needs to be some resolution.
and I actually feel like if they get this resolved and stop having it hang over the downtown area, I think you're going to actually invite more businesses to finally come in here and say, all right, you've got it situated. All right, let's pull the trigger on this. And so
when you're talking about bypasses and businesses, one of the big considerations is the breakdown of property tax revenue coming from commercial versus residential.
yes.
And this is a big thing, right?
Yes.
Because Middleton has grown so fast that
Right.
you're something like 95%.
95.5, yeah.
Yeah. And 5% of the overall revenue is coming from commercial. It's like, dude, and when everything's fine, everything's fine.
Right.
But when it's not fine, that's really
Right.
bad.
Right.
That's a bad breakdown because you need that essentially hedge of, okay, we have commercial that continues operating
Right.
and like all these things. What do you think can be done to attract more commercial?
So I think the bypass getting situated is going to invite a lot. I
Gotcha.
think that's going to be huge. But at the same time, I don't know a lot of Middleton people that want a Walmart just yet in town, and so you know,
Was that something proposed? Or
I
just saying
no,
big box
just
store?
just big box
Yeah,
store.
yeah.
I think there's a Winco that's coming at the other intersection there on 26 and
They're
and
employee
Middleton.
owned. They're employee owned.
Yeah.
Just make sure you take your ATM card. There's no credit card. They don't mess around with that.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And
They have really fancy ice cream too.
do they really?
Yeah, they have like the fancy ice cream that you can only get at Whole Foods, but they have it for like half the price.
Really?
Employee owned. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
True story.
I like my ice cream, and my wife loves her peppermint ice
Dude,
cream.
it's
so.
like Tegalana, or it's like gelato or something.
Okay.
I don't know the difference between gelato. I think it's like fat content.
Yeah.
And ice cream. But the point is that they have really, like, I've always been impressed with Winco's,
Yeah.
like selection of food.
Yeah, no, Winco's great. So, I would say that we probably, with our bigger family, we tend to get some Costco stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but like Middleton's freaking awesome, and they are phenomenal when it comes to community support. I know that they get hit for so many things, and they're phenomenal between the cheerleaders and the football players and all just bagging for tips and all sorts of stuff. So. They're a phenomenal sponsor for Middleton community. It's
awesome.
Yeah. So
Awesome. So the bypass. So transit is essentially
I think
allow
yes.
people to plan out the expanding Middleton. So businesses, on the bypass, you have larger, you'll have larger businesses and big box stores,
Yeah.
presumably things like that, and that'll attract people, and you'll have more transit and
Right.
whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
No,
Like what I mean is any other, like transit is obviously a thing
Right,
for
right,
attracting
right.
commercial. Do you think there's anything else that can be done to attract businesses into Middleton?
obviously probably there are, there's always, the benefits of, tax breaks and stuff when a new company comes in. But I get a little leery about that kind of stuff because you don't want to forget the companies, the businesses that have been there all along too. So, but I'm open to exploring any and all types of opportunities like that.
Gotcha.
So I'm not gonna nope, yes, or anything like that. So I think a case by case basis probably.
Growth brings traffic,
Yep.
which is annoying, right? You lose ag land, which
Yes.
is annoying.
Yep.
Totally understand. It also puts a lot of pressure on quality of life
Yeah.
for existing people, like Parks and Rec. Right?
Yes.
Talk to me about continuing to have a community that grows and supplies people with an opportunity to have good outdoor
Right.
life and recreation.
No, absolutely. So Middleton has come so far. So when I first moved out there, I put my kids in the Optimist football, and we were part of the Nampa group. So we would practice in Middleton, and we were practicing at Middleton Heights, all of the little football kids over there. Since then, we've grown. The Middleton Optimist has grown. And so now we practice over at Purple Sage because the grass area is really hard to schedule out there between the soccer, baseball, and football, and then you've got some other club soccer. There's a lot of people competing for that grass, and so I know Heidel mentioned a big sports complex, which I think would be phenomenal, but that might just be a little too far out in the perimeter. So keep bringing those little pockets, because those grass slots and opportunities they're getting gobbled up. I mean, my treasurer used to be part of that soccer board, and he says at 12:01 on January 1st, they would have to send out their email requesting certain plots, and it's just such a high commodity. And so keeping those pockets, keeping those additional parks coming, I think is going to be really huge for the growth.
Talk to me about funding for that, because obviously you have to do the lots, you gotta maintain it, you gotta do all that stuff.
So it's I mean, it costs money. Obviously, it costs money. And I know that the new sewer treatment is going to cost a lot of money too. So it might have to wait a little bit, but I think it should be on the agenda to kind of get that. I believe that most of that is rec run versus city run, and so, but it's a very close relationship there.
Sure.
So in my personal business, I do customer success for a product that MWI product puts out, and so what we're always doing is collaborative. So I love coming to somebody and say, hey, this is our problem. What can we do collectively to fix this problem? And so I would love to take that into the situation here and say, all right, Parks and Rec, county, whatever, what can we do collectively to fix this solution, or to fix this, hole? And so I love doing that. I love doing that. And so I would fully and wholeheartedly try to keep doing that. So
go after Winco. Be like, make the Winco Park.
Make the
Winco Park.
Put a park right there. Yeah.
Like, come on.
Right.
Like, just fund it. We'll put a little W, like whatever. We'll put a W grass area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Right.
That seems reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
They'll go for that.
They'll totally go for that. Talk to me about Public Works. I actually very, very thankfully have the director of Public Works coming on. I met him like about a month ago, and we lined up a show.
Awesome.
Because Public Works are really, this is, again, the kind of underbelly of development, which is you're straining your wastewater treatment plants, and you have all of these demands on the existing systems where it's like, here we go. No, we got to keep up with everything.
Right. And I unfortunately, I think just with the growth and the amount of time that it takes to get things approved, it's just the trying to get this approved, and the rates are going to go up a little bit, but understandably, it's growth. The growth is there. We need it. So it's just kind of one of those necessary evils to the growth was already there. So you got to make it happen. So we'll fix it.
Do you think that do you think it's gonna be an either or with other existing projects, or do you think that the inline cost is gonna be fine?
As far as the waste, it's probably going to be this first, and then because I believe they've looked at it, and it could come in phases, so that way it won't be like a big massive chunk
dump.
So
makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Emergency services. As we're talking about services, talk to me about law enforcement. So, oh my God, I'm not fired. So
law enforcement. I have had very little interaction. I have had zero negative interactions with our police. They've been freaking awesome. I will run into them from time to time when we do our football with our Optimist. So our Optimist does all of their home games at the high school.
Gotcha.
And so they do the whole like music, the PA, the announcing when they come onto the field. And so sometimes they'll have some officers there to kind of keep the peace, because some of those incoming fan bases can get a little rowdy. And so, and my interactions with them have always been awesome. And so I like to keep, I'm going to be very much in favor of the what is it? One per 1,000 population.
Yeah.
So I would like to make sure that we don't start going chintzy on stuff just to save a few bucks and then watch that
Sure.
quality kind of diminish a little bit, or the response times or anything like that. So that's my police take. As far as the fire district goes, so that was one thing that I learned, when I moved here too, was, it is funded very, very differently than where I came from. So I came from Utah, but
there you go.
Yeah.
But even within the time that you've lived here, things have changed. It's like,
yes,
it's not the same way it used to be.
It's not. And so it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit that we've got an empty station in Star. It's already paid for. It's there. And then one that is either close or being very close to being ready in the Sand Hollow area that would be part of Middleton, and they can't man them because they don't have the funding for it. And it's like, I totally admire what Greg's trying to pull. He is trying to do so much with what little resources he's got, as far as like bringing in, we used fire trucks and having them refurbished to save money. And then he gets, people just love to, well, what about this, in the budget, or you want to spend it on this? And it's like,
I heard the somebody, people online say all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And this one guy was like, they send firefighters to California to fight fires on your tax dollars. And I was like, that can't be right. No. But I don't know. Right. And I never, I hear a lot of things. Like the whole nature of this podcast is like, is that true? Is that true? So check this out. So I get a hold of Brad Ritchie. Do you know who Brad Ritchie is? Mm-hmm. He is the former director of emergency response for Idaho.
Okay.
I happened to interview him last February. And so I call him, and he's since retired. It was like his last month or something. I was like, Brad, I know you're on the beach somewhere, but listen, I have a question. And I was like, when we have firemen that go away to other states, who pays for that? He's like, it's not us. We're not. So this is what happened. This is how it actually works. Say Middleton or Star firefighters go off to California.
Okay.
What has actually happened? What happens is California determines that it has a problem, and it puts out a message across this national emergency response network saying, hey man, we need firefighters to come and fight this thing. And everybody has the opportunity to essentially bid on that. And if you want to go, you send a response back saying, hey, we have, let's say 10 firefighters. They'd be happy to come. It's going to cost us X number of dollars. This is the equipment they can bring, all this stuff. Is that acceptable to you? And then the California has to say, yep, send them on over. So boom, get in the car. Wow. All the way down to California. You go fight the fire. You do exactly, it's like the whole bit. You come back, you submit then Star Middleton Fire District submits its invoice to the state of Idaho and says, hey guys, this should go to California. Idaho's like, hey, you owe us. And they're like, okay. So California then gets the invoice. They're like, okay, this looks all correct. Here's your, $1 million or whatever it was. And by the way, in the meantime, Idaho makes the fire district whole. So they don't have to wait for the invoice to be paid. So the local guys get made whole right away. And then Idaho's like, hey, you owe us $1 million. And they're like, all right, man, here, take your money. And then Idaho gets made whole collectively. Perfect. It is not getting paid for by Middleton and Star residents. Yeah. That is not true at all.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. I mean, they're already on a tight budget. So
right.
Yeah. Let's go here and spend some money now.
So do you think anything can be done? Do you think anything, first off, do you want anything to be done?
I would love to get that passed. I mean, I know he's got another one on the docket this, and I don't know how, because it needs to be. I mean, it should be. At what point are people willing to take that increased response time? I mean, so to my understanding, I mean, it might be, I want to say 80% of the calls that the Middleton fire station gets is in Sand Hollow. And so to have a station out there in man that could take all of those calls and then leave the Middleton one, because if they're out in Sand Hollow and something happens in Middleton, that response time is going to be greatly affected by that. So I think hopefully continued education, just kind of continued explanation of, hey, what is the actual thing what's being asked for here, and this is why. And so, and he's doing a tremendous, Greg's doing all that he can, and he's doing a tremendous job. But like he mentioned, I think they have all of these opportunities at the fire station to say, hey, come talk to us. This is what we are doing, and nobody's really showing up.
Dude, it's so hard to get people.
It
You can't get anybody to show up. Like if you have a time and a location constraint, good night. Like nobody's coming. Especially like if you do it during the day, you don't get people working. If you do it at night, I'm at home. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere right now. Can't you just
checking out?
Can I zoom in and like just? But like one of the other things, I had a buddy who moved to Star recently, who's been a lifelong Idahoan, and he hit me up and he's like, okay, why is there an empty fire station? Because he didn't know, and he knew that I knew, and I explained to him like, listen, he's like, Star Middleton have exploded in population. I know. That's the problem. They've exploded in population, which is good for the taxpayer because the tax liability that each of those people, somebody for Star came in, that's running for city council. His property tax is 50% of what it was in 2020.
That's wild,
so
dude.
It has plummeted in cost. So when they say growth pays for growth, growth has dropped every single person's property tax bill in Star and Middleton.
Yep.
One big problem is that in 2020 to now, it's doubled in size, which means half of the people here don't remember what the property tax bills were in 2019 because they weren't there, right? So all they see is like, you're going to increase my property tax bill. It's like, oh my gosh. But the problem is obviously the budget cannot go up analogous to the growth. We have state law that requires it can't do that. We can't do something like Prop 13 where every time you build a new house, you get, locked into a base because there's in the Idaho Constitution, every property must be treated equally. Yeah. So you can't have this tiered where it's like, well, Susie bought her house 30 years ago and Matt just bought his house today. So Matt's going to pay like way more than Susie. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You physically can't, legally can't do that based on the Constitution. It's this huge problem that no one understands. And then you have people, I had this lady, this was hilarious. There was a fire near my house and like the firefighters came and stopped it. And it was like Hills Fire and it was really like, it was the real deal, right? And I put out a clip. I'm like, yeah, there's nobody in my neighborhood who's against funding firemen. Like we just literally was on our doorstep, right? Yeah. And this gal gets on. This was the hottest take I'd ever heard. She was like, those guys get paid double time to keep the fire going longer. And I was like, what? And she goes off on like, they're incentivized to keep that fire going as long as possible. And then they rent equipment that they then charge to the taxpayer and it just sits there and they're making money left and right. I'm like, wait, who's making the money? Like, where's the money? Wow. Did you ever see that? Did you ever see that Underpants Gnome episode of South Park?
No.
So it's like this from like 2005. It's literally like there are these underpants gnomes that steal everybody else's underpants. So they're like, first step, steal the underpants. Third step, profit. And they're like, wait, what's the second step? They're like, we don't know. We just thought you stole them and then you got money somewhere. It's like, it was wild, but there's so much misunderstanding about the fire service.
Yeah. So like I said,
who knows? I'm sorry, I just went on like,
no, you're good. You're good.
South Park and nonsense.
I would love to help collaborate with that. I mean, if there's some, I'm sure he's exhausted probably just about every avenue he can think of, but if there's a way to continue to get that word out some other way somehow, I mean, I would love to have, help and try to achieve that because that's just wild to me. So, and
like ultimately, I'm not a resident of Star Middleton, so I'm not like, they get to do whatever they want. Like you get to vote however you want. Right. I'm not saying I know what's right for you. This is one of those things though that is really one of the, oh Lordy, like if something happens and Star and Middleton are ill-equipped, the consequences will be significant.
That could be bad.
It could be really bad. Yeah. And you know what the worst part is? Aside from the loss of life, potential loss of life and property, it will be blamed on the fire district.
Yep, 100%.
Right? It's like nobody's going to remember that for years and years they asked for more support. Yep. And then when something bad happened and they couldn't do it sufficiently, or God forbid one of them gets caught in like a hot zone and passes, like nobody's going to remember that the citizenry were asked. And again, it's none of my affair. Yeah. I don't live there. So if they're like, yeah, we're willing to take that shot. Oof. We like our property taxes lower. It's like, okay, that's fine. But like, let's just all be clear. We probably shouldn't be blaming the firemen later on when something bad happens.
Right. Yeah.
That's dark. Okay. Law enforcement though, you're saying you never had a bad experience. Yeah. Are they sufficiently funded?
I think they're good. I mean, obviously with growth, we got to make sure that we don't lag behind and start, like I mentioned, getting chintzy
Yeah.
or anything like that. So, I going back to my current role, we always are trying to look for proactive ways to stay in front of things. And so I would love to bring that to this. Like, hey, is there any metrics? Are there anything that we can look at and say, okay, we need to be ... this far ahead of any funding that needs to happen, especially when it comes to, 3 elections before things get funded for, so yeah.
Here's a question for you. You seem to be a fairly positive guy who likes
I
Middleton.
I've heard that. I've been accused of that in the past. So
you like Middleton.
Yeah.
You're optimistic. You're all about collaboration, partnership.
yeah.
Why are you running? Like, what are you worried about? Is there anything you're worried about?
I mean, the biggest thing I'm worried about is just, making sure that we keep that Middleton feel. So when I first got hired on, they told me that I could live anywhere from Twin Falls to Boise. And so we took 6 months. We looked at places all over the place. Melba, Kuna, Jerome. We looked at everywhere. And Middleton just gravitated to it. It just like, this is what we're looking for. And so I would love to kind of preserve that as much as I can. And I can't verbalize. I don't know what preserving ... It's just preserving what drew us to Middleton is kind of what I'm fighting for. So, but yeah, that's what I'm, and on top of that, so this isn't just kind of out of left field. So I grew up, my grandfather was, who I didn't realize he was as long as he was, but he was the mayor of the town that I grew up in. And I looked it up, and he was in public service for 28 years between city council, mayor, and that was before social media. So, you know how things get twisted. I've heard stories of people he was a farmer, so he'd be out on his tractor. Some random person would come over, just start ripping into him and saying, "Oh, you did this or this, and he's like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and that was it. He'd being able to be calm, cool, collected, and the ability to look at things as a collective whole. So there were times that he made decisions that wouldn't just that weren't in his best interest, but they were in the community best interest. And so I feel like that really landed with me. It's like, okay, is it my best interest or is it Middleton's best interest? And I am going to look at it from that perspective, wholeheartedly, as far as like where my approach is.
I got you.
Yeah. So,
well, listen, man, we've covered a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we missing anything?
I've dealt with, so my first job out of college, I worked at a dairy co-op in central Utah.
Okay.
We had dairymen from California, we had Connecticut, we had Utah, and 12 dairymen, and trying to get them to agree on one thing sometimes can be one of the largest undertakings that I have ever experienced. So but I learned a lot from that. I mean, you take those opportunities, all right, who needs their ego massaged, who just wants to get something done. And so I want to bring a collaborative spirit in here. I know that the mayor's in there and she's trying to, get some certain things done, and she ran on the bypass. I'm in favor of getting something done for a bypass. So if the other ones have got other projects, I would love to collaborate with them and make things happen. I mean, that's my main goal here. So, yeah.
I dig, man. I dig.
So,
well, listen, thank you for running.
Yeah. You
right.
bet.
Like
well,
it's really important that people have options. Like Meridian, for instance, they are all running unopposed. Now, I am not saying that that's like they've done a bad job. Maybe they have crushed it wild time, but I'm sure somebody's out there saying like, hey man, our democracy depends on competition of ideas and people willing to step forward and voluntarily engage in public service, even present themselves for judgment to the community and say like, this is what I got. This is the best I got. Like, these are my ideas, and people say yay or nay. But it is really important that we have people running, and I can't imagine it's a fun thing. I've never done it. I'm never going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not best served.
I've had a lot of people come to me so I had a friend mention, hey, have you ever thought about running? And I was like, I have actually thought about running. And they said, but I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get it, And he's like, hey, if you decide to run, I'll be your first donation. I'll help you out in that way. And I was like, okay. And then once my name got out there, I had a lot of people come to me and say, just talk. And it's like, what are you in favor of? And I had surprisingly a lot of people mention a community pool. Yeah. And I'm like, me and my wife have joked about a community pool in Middleton, but logistics wise, obviously that's going to have to be a collaborative effort. But at the high school where I went to, they did a collaborative effort where they put a pool, attached it to the high school, and they were able to double it up as the swimming pool for the swim team, as well as a community pool, certain hours. And so, if we can, cross that path. Anyway, I not to say that a community pool is going to happen, on day one, but the
you
fact
heard it here,
that
folks.
so
He promised
much,
it. Casey Andersen with an E promised it.
Was promised, but no, a lot of people have shown the same interest, and so But
yeah, I love pools. I grew up swimming.
Farmer's got a pool,
my wife and I play on a co-ed water polo team.
Oh, awesome.
My wife is this I play, when I say I play, like I've been to 2 practices, I played in a tournament, but she's like on the A team and they travel. They won a tournament in Utah.
Wow.
They drove down to Ogden and slayed it over 2 days. And she's on she's playing with these like 250-pound, 50-year-old dudes just crushing, right? And somebody's talking about trying to figure out a way to build a pool in Eagle as well. And because there's, the Y has different ones, but Eagle and Meridian could use more. Yeah, man, I'm all for it. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah. So
good times.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Let's put a water slide.
Right.
Yeah. Don't make a height restriction.
No.
Don't say if you're over 5 feet you can't go. Like, come on, just give me one ride.
Just give me one. Yeah.
Anyway, man, listen.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Thanks for running, and we'll do it again.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.